8 pounds,
Okay.
4 ounces then.
This is great grandma, honey.
Oh, she has a long fourth finger. She's got to play the piano.
Let's see that. Grandma's here. Your grandma's here. Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Sweetly sing to lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Sweetly sing to lullaby.
Great big yawn. Did Anne like to swim? Oh my goodness, yes. Here she is doing her famous underwater headstand. She's not in the process of diving in at this point. That's a fixed position that she's holding as niece Judy White looks on. Anne learned her swimming with the Girl Scouts, advancing through the ranks to become lifesaver and swimming instructor. Here you see her with her troop on summer camp. She's down in front, third one from the right. Apparently here they had just gotten back from swimming, as you can see their old heavy woolen swimsuits hanging on the line. Anne was passionate about sharing her love of swimming with her family, here with Danny at Scituate Beach, even if it was a little scary at times, as here with David at Horseneck Beach. She carried this passion through grandchildren on to great-granddaughter Helen, when she insisted that we take Helen down to be introduced to the ocean, even though it was a blustery day in November. Here we are at Harwich Beach, Town Beach.
I feel like we're the Kennedys. Right? There's Grandpa. Yeah, we were at the beach. Last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't as windy, but it was kind of choppy.
Beach!
No. Not.
There?
Getting heavy already.
What do you think of that, Helen? You like the ocean? Not sure, huh? Anne carried her love of swimming with her well into old age. One day, after she and Jean returned from a Caribbean cruise, they received in the mail these 3-color prints from a couple they had met on the ship. What's that up in the air? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's 85-year-old Anne Hawkins, parasailing. Perhaps no picture better captures Anne's attitude toward the sun and the water than this one of her at the beach at Oak Bluffs, with David sitting there absorbing that attitude from her. Did Anne like to cook? No, she did not. Here we see her standing in the kitchen of their Harwich house, a house which they designed and built for their retirement and lived in for 25 years. And in all of that time, that kitchen never had an oven. It just wasn't important to her. In later years, she often said, "You know, if I had the choice to make, I would rather play the piano than eat. This led to a carefree, almost absent-minded attitude towards food which was sometimes humorous. For example, whatever motivated her to bring this gigantic container of salt with her to a picnic lunch? However, getting David to do some of the cooking was not a good idea, even with Cousin Judy backing him up. We hope that he didn't put that entire container of prunes into whatever it was he was cooking up there. In 1953, they moved into the large house on Cottage Street in Plainville, and with that move, they had arrived at the quintessential middle-class lifestyle of the Eisenhower-era 1950s. In addition to the large house in a small town, Anne had a husband with a successful career in industry, 3 children in school, her mother living with her, a maiden aunt living in the upstairs apartment, a dog, a cat, a 2-car garage. This was it. This was the way life was supposed to be. Here they are, home from church on Easter Sunday. Norman Rockwell himself couldn't have drawn a more fitting portrait of what family life was supposed to be in that era. As part of that lifestyle, Anne was expected to put on 3 square meals a day. And with the help of her mother, she did. And she didn't complain about it either. Here she's providing a meal not only for her own family, but also for her sister Ada's family. She doesn't exactly look like a happy camper here, does she? There were many other dinner parties she had to cook for. This one was a gathering of Jean's shirt-tail relatives. Her sister Ada is waiting the tables, and Anne isn't even in this picture. She's in the kitchen slaving away. In the mid-1950s, Adele Davis's famous book, Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit, came out. This was the very beginning of the health food movement. And as she had done 5 years earlier with natural childbirth, Anne read it, thought it was the right thing to do, and so she did it, adopting the recommendations here, providing these foods to her family. Back then, there wasn't much of anything else to support the movement except that book. There was no Whole Foods market. There were no organic foods being grown on farms. So one had to cook and provide by the recipes shown in the book. For instance, here is the recipe for a rather ghastly concoction called tiger's milk. One summer, Anne's niece, Jackie Neff, came for a week's visit. She's shown here with her mother and grandmother. That week, Anne actually got Jackie to eat raw liver, something which Anne's immediate family had absolutely refused to do. By far, Anne's greatest passion in life was music, bringing her more joy and bringing more joy to all those around her than anything else she ever did. She started playing piano at age 5 and continued doing so right up to a couple of days before she passed away. She indulged in music with boundless enthusiasm, as here in this impromptu dockside duet, drawing people from off their boats to see what was going on, even inspiring that one guy to bring her some flowers. While her children were still small, Anne was very active in the Chaminade Club of Attleboro, now known as the Chaminade Opera Group. She accompanied solo and group singing and also performed many dual piano pieces. Unfortunately, we have no pictures at all of her musical performances during that period of her life. When her children got older, Anne took lessons on the organ and took numerous classes and courses in choral conducting, then went out and started her career as a church musician, serving as organist, choir director, and overall music director in a number of different churches. She didn't retire from that career until age 87, a career that lasted over 40 years. Here we see her playing the organ on the right and conducting the choir all the way across on the far left with a series of head nods and facial gestures. At this church you can see Anne's face in the mirror at the very center of this picture. Every church she served, she communicated her spirit of joy and enthusiasm through music. At each church she served, she had her regular duties, which she was paid for, rehearsing, preparing the choir, performing at Sunday services. But Anne went far above and beyond those regular duties. Each year she would plan, organize, prepare, rehearse, and conduct at least one, usually two, major musical productions, performances that were outside of the normal flow of activities of the church. Sometimes they were of a religious theme, of pageant, as shown here. But more often than not, they were based on Broadway musicals. Here we see her posing with some of her cast from her production of Nonsense. Each of these took a tremendous amount of work on her part to prepare. Once, when David remarked to her that, considering everything she did, she was really grossly underpaid, she said, "David, I would continue to do everything I'm doing now, even if they never paid me 1 cent. Then she hastened to add, "But don't tell them that." Another above and beyond thing that Anne did was, once a week during the summer months, she would have what they called open bench, a couple-of-hour period where anyone could walk in and sit down and learn something about the organ, play a few notes, get some instruction. We don't know who this guy is here pictured, somebody that just walked in and enjoyed learning something. Anne continued to do other things outside of her church job. On Cape Cod, she organized a singing group called the Notables, composed mainly of seniors. This all-volunteer group sang light secular music and went around entertaining at nursing homes and the like. Here they are singing at Anne and Jean's 60th wedding anniversary party. Anne also played lots of weddings and funerals. Here she's playing for the wedding of her nephew Hans Warnick's son. And here she's rehearsing for a wedding on the large 4-manual Hook and Hastings pipe organ at the West Newton Unitarian Church. And after that wedding, she was happy to demonstrate the organ to the curious children that came up for a look and for a listen. Anne always loved to bring children into music. Here she's introducing her great-granddaughter Helen to the piano. Saturday, November 6th, 1999, in Harwich.
Not much light. Not much light here. No.
Yeah, it's a very sensitive camera.
Her first concert on a Mason and Hamlin
Yes.
grand piano.
Yeah.
Now we're on F sharp.
So you're going to play Daisy?
Let's see how
Do you
we
have
go.
a piano?
Not at home, no. Gotta get one now. You gotta get one now.
Daisy, Daisy, give me the answer to. I'm half crazy over you. You for the carriage. What's the rest of the words? Who knows? But you look sweet on the swing of a bicycle beat for two. In E flat.
The 5 years after her retirement were ones of decline, both physical and mental. The last 2.5 of those years, she was in Beaumont House in Northborough, Massachusetts, where she was very well cared for. But all throughout that decline, she kept her good spirits. Her sense of humor never went away. This enabled her to get the most that she could out of the activities there. She especially enjoyed having family visit her, always welcoming them with happiness and warmth. She played the piano at Beaumont on a regular, almost daily basis, both for the residents there, for their special occasions such as church services, and for visitors. On most major holidays, she was at Jan's house, where she also got a chance for a live video teleconference with Dan in Alaska. She also took advantage of the opportunity to tickle the ivories again on her beloved Mason and Hamlin grand piano. January 7th, 2007 was extraordinary weather-wise. The temperature hit 70 degrees with brilliant sun and a light breeze, enabling Anne to get outside for the last time. She thoroughly enjoyed soaking up the warmth of the sun. After a while, she said she was tired and wanted to lie down, so they went inside, and her roommate's daughter took this, the very last picture of Anne ever taken. She passed away 2 weeks later.